Bolt Figma lets you build Figma plugins faster than ever before. Start a new Figma plugin in seconds with the fully custom CLI starter. Choose your favorite framework, including Svelte, React, or Vue. Bolt comes with full type safety for the front end, back end, and manifest contexts. Instant hot reloading powered by Vue.js to see your work update in real time. And optimized build size so you only ship the code you actually use. And so much more, totally free and open source. What's up everybody, Justin from Hyperbrew. Today I'm excited to show you Bolt Figma, our new framework for building Figma plugins faster than ever. Let's jump in. All right, so to get started, you're gonna wanna pull open your terminal and we can use the create script with yarn npm or pnpm. In this case, I'm gonna be using yarn. So I'll type yarn create bolt Figma. Now it's going to start the CLI starter. So we'll see here it says create bolt Figma. Where do you wanna create your project? I call it my plugin. And then the next question is choose a display name. So I'll call it my plugin. And then we need to choose a unique ID. Call it com.my.plugin. And now we select a framework. In this case, we can use Svelte, React, or Vue. I'm gonna choose Svelte. And now we can select the app. So we have Figma design mode, Figma dev mode, or FigJam. So I'm just gonna use Figma for now. And then we can have the option to install our dependencies. I'll select yes, otherwise you'll need to install them afterwards. And then keep sample code snippets. This is great for the first time you're making a panel, but if you've made a couple panels and you already know what code you want to start with, then you can select no and it'll strip all the sample code out. But for now, let's leave them in. So then I'm going to hit enter and it's going to start creating our new Bolt Figma. Okay, so now that that's created, I'm going to cd into that directory, my-plugin. And then I'll run code period to open a new code window. And here we have it. So now we have our new scaffolded plugin ready to go. So if I go ahead and run yarn build, that's going to run the build process for us. And we'll see now a dist folder has been created. And this just contains 3 files, our manifest, our index.html, which is our front end code, and our code.js, which is our back end code. So now that we've built the plugin, let's go ahead and run dev mode. So we're going to run yarn dev. And that's going to enable hot reloading so we can do some live development here. So make sure you have the Figma desktop app installed and go ahead and open that up. And to attach the plugin, we're going to go up to the menu, go to plugins, and then say development, import plugin from manifest. Also make sure hot reload plugin is enabled here. So I'm going to select that, and then I'm going to copy the directory of my manifest, say copy path. And then I want to select this manifest.json and go ahead and click open. So now you'll see my development plugin here. I'll select it and now Bolt Figma is launched. So this is the sample plugin with some example buttons set up for Svelte, TypeScript, Sass with Vite. And then we have a basic hello world button that calls an alert from the backend. And now if we go into our main entry point, so we go into our source folder in main.svelte. If you're in React, that's going to be main.tsx, or if you're in Vue, that'll be main.vue. So now that we're in our main.svelte, which is the main entry point, I'm going to scroll down to our button here and change it from hello world to hello world with some exclamation points. And when I hit save, you'll see the update happens in real time. So this is a really fast way to build out and prototype and test your plugin in real time. So now that we've kind of gone from 0 to 100 here on getting a plugin loaded, let's talk a little more about the actual source code and how everything is structured. So first thing to talk about is a Figma config ts. So this file is generated after doing our CLI starter. So you can see things like the name of the plugin, the ID, and then which apps we chose, in this case just Figma. And so this is all set up from our CLI preferences. Now, if we want to come in and change stuff or add things here, wanted to add FigJam, for instance, we have TypeScript safety in our manifest here. So we know exactly what to type. And if we make an error, it's going to tell us and we can come in and change that so that it works. And then we have our extra prefs down here, which we'll get into this a little later. But if we want to package additional assets with our zip when we go to package this up, we have the option to do that. So we can edit our manifest in here, and then this is going to output to a standard manifest.json, but we have the benefit of full type safety. Now let's talk about the source folder. So the source folder is where most of our source code is going to live, but this is for our front end code. So again, our output is going to be manifest, front end HTML, and back end JS. So source is going to correlate to the index HTML, the front end code. So our main entry point in this case is the main.svelte. If you're in Vue, it'll be the main.vue, or React, it'll be the main.tsx. So again, there's some sample code in here because we enabled the sample code option. If you take that out, it's just going to be a minimal boilerplate. So this is going to contain all of our main front end code. So now if we look in the source code folder, this is going to be the backend. So code TS is going to be the main entry point here. This is going to be where all of our main Figma interactions live, and it's going to end up outputting to the code.js file, dist. And then lastly, we have our shared folder, and our shared folder contains a universals.d.ts. So this is our way to declare events, and which is our way of communicating between the front end and the back end. So this allows us to use listen.ts and dispatch.ts. So you'll see here in our sample hello world function, we're dispatching TS, which is sending a message to the backend, and then we're using listen.ts, which is listening for a message from the backend. And then we can see here in our backend code, we are listening for this hello function. And then once it's called, we are then dispatching the hello callback. And this is a nice type-safe way to communicate back and forth. So the way we can do this is we just add a new event here following this format. So for the hello event, we have a string, which is a type of string, a num, which is a type of number. So that way, when we go to call the dispatch, here we have a string. So and then a number, and it's all type safe. So if I come in here and accidentally pass a string, it's going to tell me, hey, this is not the right type. That way we know what to expect. And then when we get the result here, we can see the same type as well. In the same way, when we dispatch from the back end to the front end, we'll use this hello callback event. So here it's defined, it just has one parameter, result Boolean. So I'm passing result true. And then on the front end, I'm now listening for that hello callback, and then I'm getting the result. And if I hover this, you'll see it's the same type. So now I know what to expect when sending messages back and forth. So if you want to use type safety and communication from the front end to the back end, dispatch.ts and listen.ts are a great way to do that. Now, once we build our plugin and we're happy with it and it's time to ship it to our coworker or someone else for testing, we can run the dedicated command yarn zip or npm zip or pnpm zip. And what that's going to do is go ahead and build everything in our dist folder as well as anything in our public zip folder. So if you have PDFs or READMEs or any other kind of asset files you want to bundle with your project, but it's not part of the plugin itself, you can attach those in here. And now you'll see a zip folder that's generated with the plugin. So if I go ahead and reveal this, you'll see that we just get one zip file and then we get any sidecar assets, but then the plugin is within its own folder and just contains three files. And finally, if you want to store your zip files in your GitHub releases, Bolt Figma comes with a GitHub Actions workflow all ready to go out of the box. All you need to do is commit it to a Git repo and tag a new release. And then in your GitHub page, you can come over to the releases tab, and then you'll see the new release built for that version with your zip containing your plugin and sidecar assets. So be sure to check out the README for more detailed breakdowns and code examples. And if you have any questions, join the Hyperbrew Discord where we have a bunch of Bolt devs sharing tips and tricks. Thanks for watching, and get started today by heading over to hyperbrew.co or running yarn create Bolt Figma in your terminal today. Happy hacking.